Hello and welcome to this quick guide as to how to create a room adventure game in Power Apps. My name is Colin Gray and I'm going to walk you through the basic plan of how to do this. What you will need before you start, you do need access to Microsoft Power Apps via your Microsoft account. You will need a basic understanding of Power Apps. If you haven't used Power Apps before, I suggest you look at one of my or other videos about how to get started with Power Apps, and you will need some ability to plan, quite literally. The idea is we're going to make an adventure game where you move from room to room. You're going to need to decide a start point, which I'm going to use as outside the building, but it could be anywhere. And you need an end point, and that could be a room inside the building, or it could be an exit to the other side of the building. So to start, draw a rectangle, like so. This will represent the outside of the building. Then you're going to divide the rectangle into rooms. This is how I've done mine. You don't have to copy this. You can choose your own rooms. You need to decide where your start point and end points are. I've chosen mine there. Decide where your doors are going to be. Obviously you're going to need a door by your start and end point, and then doors will lead into different rooms. When deciding about that, make sure that some rooms are dead ends. In other words, once you've gone in, you can't get out. Some rooms could have some danger, which means that the game is over as soon as you enter the room. But there must be a way through. There must be a route through to the end. Once you've done all of that, number or name each room. I've just used R1, R2, R3, R4. That's a bit boring. Feel free to be a bit more creative than I have been with room names. You can call them anything you like. And it's also a good idea to number each door or name each door. These aren't quite so important, but they're useful to do so you can keep a track of when you're creating it. Now let's get to start the app. Log on to Power Apps from office.com, create a new Canvas app from blank, give it a suitable name, decide on whether you're going to use tablet or phone format, and then click Create. You will be faced with a blank screen to start with, so first thing we'll do is rename that to srn_start. It's a good idea to name all your screens something srn, then you can tell at a glance that they are screens. And we're going to add a label with the text click start to start. Do change the default font size and position like I've done here. You can also add a label with a header. I've done that, as you can see from the next slide. So I've added another label, which is the name of my game, and still got the click start to start, and then I've just added a button. So before you do that, add a blank screen. It just makes it a bit easier to do it this way around. Add a blank screen, rename that to srn_, well, whatever the name of your room is. I've named mine R1, so I've just got srn_R1. Then when you've done that, go back to the srn_start screen and add in a button. Change the button text to start. Again, feel free to change the font size, position, shape, etc. When you've got your button there, then we need to add in a tiny bit of code, and that is click on the button in your srn_start screen and change on select. It will say here it'll say here false. Delete the false and change it to navigate round brackets srn underscore r1. You'll probably find, because you've already created srn r1, that it will try and autocomplete for you, which is great. You can just click that and it will fill it in. You'll just need to type in the close brackets. So that will mean that when someone clicks or taps the button, it will jump to that new screen. Then you need to go through the whole process of creating new screens for each room. So you've already done one. The first one I've called R1. Because my doors lead to R2 and R7, I've created srn underscore R2 and srn underscore R7. You create the ones that you've called in your plan. You don't have to copy my R1, R2, R3 names. You can call them whatever you like. What I suggest you do is go back to the your first room. Mine's srn underscore R1, and insert a label. Then I would change the text to whatever the name of the room is. So mine's room 1, a bit boring, but that's what I've called it. And then select in the same screen, insert two, but well, in my case, 2 buttons because I've got 2 doors. If you only had 1 door, you'd only put 1 door. If you had 3, you'd put 3. But in my case, I've got 2 doors, so I'm going to call these BTN. Again, if you rename your buttons as something BTN, then it's obvious that that's a button. And I've just put R1 to R2 because that's where I'm going, from room 1 to room 2. And the other button is going to be R1 by BTN underscore R1 to R7. That's what I've called it. Again, you can put whatever room names you have called it there. Okay. I recommend you do, because then it becomes obvious what button is which. Otherwise it will become confusing if you leave it with the default names. From then on, we need to add in the code to make it navigate. So on the button you've created, make sure it navigates to the right screen. So on my button R1 to R2, I need to navigate to srn underscore R2. That's what I've done. Whatever you have named your second room, then that needs to go navigate brackets and then the name of that. And repeat that process. So here's what mine looks like. As you can see from my plan, R1 leads into R2 and R7 through D2 and D3. So these are buttons. What I've done is I've just resized the buttons and I've added in a circle icon to make a handle. I've changed the text to room 2. I've also changed the bottom padding to move that so it's not in the middle and clashing with the handle circle that I've created, just to make them look like doors. So you can click those and it will navigate to the screen that is that door. And continue like that until you've created a screen for every room and buttons for each door, and make them navigate to the correct room. Any rooms that are dead ends, like my room 7 is a dead end, I've just included a picture and some text to say what happened and say it's game over, and I've included a little start again button to navigate to the srn underscore start. So keep doing that process until you've got all your links, all the buttons, all the doors, all the rooms, until you've finished. Then you should make a test plan to test each one. So every button needs to be checked that it links to the right screen. So run through, fill in this to make sure that it actually does. As you may have noticed, my one does work okay, except that I haven't, because I've just added in a circle. If you tap this, the door handle circle, it doesn't navigate if you're that precise with your tapping or clicking. That's fairly easily fixed, but I've put it on here, and then I'm going to add in a 2A, which will be the same test and how I fixed it. And just to give you an idea of my finished game screenshot, this is what the introduction looks like. If you've noticed, I've gone through and renamed all my items just so it makes it much easier to figure out what's what. And I've added in a little icon here, and you can add in icons and pictures and anything else just to make it look nice, and maybe some other features if you think of them. So thank you for listening. That's everything there is to say about this. I hope you make a great room adventure game in Power Apps. Bye for now.